Alright, I'll be honest. When Bari asked me to review the client, I initially didn't want to. Mainly because I really don't like reviewing a lot of clients these days, but also because I didn't really believe in the idea of there being another possible Astral client. I felt like Astral had cemented itself into the community really well, and I felt like Turtle was trying to establish itself as something that it couldn't ever be. But I thought, you know what, I'll give the client a chance for a week and see if I change my mind. While it didn't change the opinion on the client dramatically, it did change it enough for me to have an excuse to make the video. So grab yourself a snack and enjoy the video. First of all, I want to say that this client has a lot of bugs. So it's gonna be more negative than positive. Not necessarily because of the bugs, but just because I feel there's a lot of stuff that's unnecessary, and considering how far we've come with actual clients like Onyx, I feel like this is sort of distraction from these actual working clients. I don't really have a problem with the name client being used. I think it's righteously used since it does have a couple mods, but I do think other clients should deserve more praise than this. I mean, this Discord already has almost, I think, even 10,000 members already, and I think Onyx doesn't yet have 10,000 members. I'm not sure. I can't check. But even if it does, Turtle Client has gained popularity way faster than Onyx has, even though Onyx has actual working mods. And I feel like that's sort of frustrating. And at the same time, I'm okay with it kind of, because I do feel like a lot of effort went into this, but it's not as good as some people say it is. So let me start off with drawbacks so that I can end the video off with some positive comments if there are any. So the client itself is very messy. It reminds me a lot of Bad Tiger, and in a bad way. Bad Tiger always suffered from bugs. It had a lot of textures that just looked bad. The whole thing felt very messy. And it's the same thing with this client. I make textures. I know how good a texture can look, and the buttons on the menu, they're just not it, okay? These buttons on the menu, they're terrible. Whoever made them, you should probably quit whatever you're doing, get back to the buttons and make them better, because the buttons are just bad. They're just 3x3 pixels that are expanded, and it looks terrible. I don't know if higher res buttons are possible, but at least make them consistent. You have got a red exit button, and then all your other buttons aren't there unless you hover over them and you click them, and I find that annoying. Just have them all look consistent, or change them all to higher res buttons if you can, because that looks better. Another thing is that the background panorama has some missing pixels, and it's so easy to fix, yet nobody's fixing it. It's so annoying to look at. My eyes just go to the 3 lines of pixels that are just gone, and it's so annoying to look at. Also, because it's, I guess, such a clean UI, you have nothing to look at anywhere else at the screen. So I feel like they should have somehow implemented a moving panorama, because it really is just boring to stare at a stale image where there's no movement involved. There's nothing to look at. That's always what I liked about panoramas. Even if panoramas have got some missing pixels, or even if they don't bind well together, they still are moving, and there's still something that can, I guess, satisfy your eyes, because wow, this is a moving object on your screen. This is something you want to look at, so it's better than just looking at a stale image. But besides that, I would maybe just add some I don't know, some sort of scenery, like for example a beach with a turtle, which I think could fit way better. Speaking of turtle, the loading screen for the turtle, I don't really like it. I like the idea, I like the execution, but I feel like the whole thing should be revamped to, for example, a turtle walking on a beach, or a turtle swimming. It could look way better. I feel like a lot of the whole UI is good, but it could be improved on by a lot. I also want to talk a bit about the capes that Turtle Client has. I really like the addition of capes. I think it's really nice, especially the realistic cape. I've seen other YouTubers enjoy it, and I've enjoyed it myself as well. The only drawbacks, and I have two, are that one, you can't see any hit particles while using the cape, and I know that a lot of people like using them, so not having any hit particles is for me a massive loss, because I feel like that makes my game look better. I'd rather have particles appear in my videos instead of my viewers looking at a cape that I don't even see. So I think particles, at least for me, are more important, and until they are able to make particles and capes work together, I don't think that's going to be changed anytime soon, but I still enjoy the cape itself, and I think it's a really good step forward in terms of cosmetic. But the second annoyance with the cape is that it's entity based, which means that it will only appear on your screen. Nobody else will be able to see your cape except yourself. But because because the cape is entity based, everybody else will be able to see the same exact cape that you see. So that means that everybody just has the same exact cape, and that kind of removes the point of having a cape. You want to have a cape and be unique, have it be, I guess, part of your skin, your in-game look, and having a cape that everybody else has at the same time kind of ruins it. I know you can have capes that you can see for everybody else, but you still can't see them for yourself, which again kind of ruins the whole point. But another problem is, and this I guess ties in with the entity part, is that there's just gonna be random capes floating around anywhere on the screen. If I play Hive, there's gonna be some instances where you kill somebody and the cape just floats there. Like there's just a floating cape next to or on the gravestone, and I'm like, what is happening? Or in other games, if I play and somebody's like falling down, I can just see a floating cape there. Like no person, no rendered person, just that rendered cape, and that's it. And also in other games, because the shops are Steve entities with just villager skins on, the villagers have capes, which I think looks pretty funny. I don't think it's a problem really with Turtle Client, but I think that's a problem with entity capes in general. Something else that I really find annoying, which isn't a sub pack, but it should be, is the fact that you have a 3D outline selection. Now, this is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. The fact that you have a 3D outline selection means that you have got separate code, which means you can use an outline selection for your pack. Because the problem I had was that on Astral, if I used Astral, I couldn't have an outline selection because of how code on Astral replaced the code of the outline selection. So I was always stuck with me having to use this like white overlay selection, which looks ugly. It's very difficult to know what you're actually aiming at, and if you're using a shader, it's just pure white. You just can't see the block texture at all. It gets way too bright. So I always wanted to use a selection again, but I couldn't because I had to sacrifice Astral, and I didn't want to do that. So I like this because if you use the right pack combination, you can get rid of the 3D-ness and have it be 2D, and that looks great. The problem with it being 3D is the following. You know that the 1.16.200 bug where you have this red triangle, it's fixed now. Well, it's just not fixed. If you're still using 200, you still have to go ahead and get yourself a fixed pack for that. But that was a bug, and that was very annoying because whenever you clicked something on your inventory, you'd have this red triangle pop up whenever you went out of your inventory or whatever menu. And it'd just be there and be near your crosshair, and your eyes would always look at that instead of your crosshair, and it'd be really difficult to play with that because it's just there. It's like annoying. It's like if you have like a piece of dirt in your eye, you can see less, but it's just there. It's annoying. It hurts you. You just want to get rid of it. And it's the same thing here. Having a 3D outline, it just feels weird. It's like you're using X-ray or something. It's like this shouldn't be there. It's like cursed, and I feel like that should be removed. For everybody that can't remove it, I don't understand how you can play with this. This is super frustrating, and I've seen YouTubers that are like, oh my gosh, wow, this is so cool, and they're like come on, man, you're just lying. Like, at least be honest, man. Like, you hate this. Just say you hate it. I see no point at all for that being a 3D outline. Why do you have to see the other end of your outline? It's perfectly fine to just have it be 2D. There's nothing about a 3D outline that makes it better. At all. You can't aim with it better. It's a distraction. You like, wow, now I know that this block is a slab instead of a full block. That's so helpful. Not really. I feel like they should just remove the 3D-ness and make it 2D, and it just be awesome. Something else that is annoying that is in game is that you've got a turtle client logo at the bottom left of your screen. And I don't know why that's there. Like, it's like a really weird watermark. Like, whenever you're using like these like screen recorders and you have this like really weird watermark from the company, this is what it feels like. Astral had it when you open a chest, but this is just there all the time, and it's frustrating to look at because you already have so much stuff on your screen. You've got the armor HUD, which you can turn off, obviously, but you've also got this like sprint entity on your bottom right, and then you also have the logo on the bottom left, and it's just annoying that it's there. I would love if they would be able to remove it, because it just be awesome, you know. Something else that I just absolutely hate is that the client has got so many textures in the folder that are blocking your pack. The first time I used the client, I was like, oh, I hope this is going to be like Astral, where I've got no textures interfering with my texture pack. So I put the turtle client above my texture pack, and it was just disgusting. The main reason I really just hate the idea of calling this a texture pack client is the fact that you have to call it a texture pack. Remove the blocks, like remove any of the blocks, any of the items that are replacing normal pack items and blocks, and you'll just have like an actual client that has a new UI. You can call it UI client or something. I don't know. It's just like the fact that you have to have different block textures, the fact that you have to have different textures for anything really that is going to disturb your in-game is annoying. For example, you have got a hotbar, the default hotbar, by the way, with numbers on it. I can understand the numbers thing. That's actually pretty useful, because if you're a new player to Minecraft, it's difficult to memorize visually which hotbar is what numerically, so it's difficult to hotkey. So that's good. It was a good way for me to practice. That's why some of my packs had it. Now obviously I don't need it. I've got some good muscle memory and some good eyesight memory, so I know what item is gonna be in what hotbar just from looking at it. But for a new player, I think that is useful. But it just looks ugly. I feel like most people nowadays use a texture pack, and this client just feels like it's way too geared towards mobile players, or people that don't use texture packs, and that's just annoying, because a lot of people would love to use this. Like me, like a lot of people used Astral that were PC players, and they probably use texture packs, and having this really ugly hotbar there is annoying. It is very annoying to look at. And also, you've got some block textures. You've got the netherite block that's changed, a couple stone blocks, wool blocks, water, lava maybe, and then some other stuff I don't know. I didn't memorize, but the most annoying one is probably gonna be wool and stone, because the stone has this really disgusting outline. It's like one of those bridge overlays where like it's a double outline, so it's not like a single pixel outline. It's 2 pixels, which you'd think would look good, but it just doesn't. Whenever something is like a natural block, it just shouldn't have an outline at all. I can understand it with ores, because it has a practical advantage of you being able to see ores above lava. But for andesite, granite, and I don't know what the other texture was, it just doesn't make sense. It looks ugly. Don't know who was like, oh, this is a good idea, let's do this. But whoever it was, please redo those textures, because they look very ugly. I think anybody that makes texture packs can agree with me that those the textures just look absolutely disgusting. Something else is the wool. The wool is just so overused. I feel like they should have just removed the wool itself. Like, this wool has been in so many packs. If there's somebody out there that says this wool is underrated, you don't use a lot of packs, okay? This wool is in half of the packs in my pack folder, and I've got a pack folder of over 200 packs. Those are mainly just Java packs, but I just use that for reference and just to, I guess, catalog packs. And whenever I search up wool in that folder, there's so many results with the exact same wool. You've got Nebula, Amethyst, Jadeite, I think one of Purple's packs, and then you've got 2 or 3 of Semi-Green's packs. Its Glimpse has that wool. I think it's basically, you get my point, okay? There's so many packs with that wool. It's absurd, and the fact that you have the audacity to still use it is annoying. Obviously, instead of like using a different wool is kind of hit or miss. People might like it because it's different. People might not like it because it's different. So I can see why you chose a wool that a lot of people love and a lot of people use. But I feel like you could have still either just removed the wool and actually just all of the blocks. There's no point for you to have the textures in there. Some of the textures are actually almost default textures. They're very slight changes. I felt like you should have made it separate pack or have that as a sub pack, because it has no business being there and just blocking some of your textures if you're trying to use it above your pack. That was the negatives, but there's some positives to the pack. Obviously the biggest one is the fact that you can have mods. Waypoint mod, while it's very difficult to set up, it's there. It's good. It's cool. It works. You also have got your armor HUD, which also is cool. It works. You also have the health and food bar displayer, or whatever you call it, whenever you open your inventory. And this is actually really useful because whenever I'll go into a chest or into my inventory, for example, on Hive, it's really useful to see my health, because while I'm sorting my inventory, I can remember my health, and I don't have to look at my health as soon as I leave it, to make sure that I'm not too low to take a fight or something like that. It's obviously not something that's super important. But it can help you in some cases, and it's good that it's there. It doesn't really obstruct your view or anything, so it doesn't make you play worse. It's just, I guess, it is a small improvement, but it's just not something major. I also like the cheat breaker UI that has been used again in this client. I think it works well, but the annoying part is that you have like a lot of these unlocked settings, with air quotations please, where basically you just click, for example, video settings, and there's these like couple of unlocked settings where you just click the slider and then nothing happens in your world. You click the slider, you leave the menu, and then nothing happens. And when you join the menu back again and click on the same tab, the sliders are moved back to default or off, so it's impossible to turn those settings on. So it's kind of useless that they're there. Oh wow, guys, more settings that you just can't use. So useful, so awesome. It's just a waste of space in my opinion. If they remove that, it's way easier to access some settings that are further down. They've got some tabs like debug just for those settings, these like hidden settings that don't really do anything when you change the slider, and it's just so annoying. Like, just why? I also like that you have a 3D animated TNT over your head as a cosmetic. Well, it isn't something that's like revolutionary. I do like the idea, and I do think it's a nice step forward to having a lot of cosmetics. I also read through all the updates, and at some point a bandana was added as a cosmetic. I don't know if that was removed or not, but I couldn't find it anywhere, and I don't know if they're like still working on that or whatever, but it's kind of annoying that they just have that added bandana, and then you just don't have that anywhere as a cosmetic. But I do think overall this client is going in the right direction. Well, it is very rudimentary, and I hope this video, I guess, helps it become cleaner and just a better client texture pack overall. It's going to probably take a while, and for now it's still not something that I would recommend to somebody else to use. I still think Astral is way better than this in so many ways. You obviously have your Java UI, which I think is a really bad trade-off for whatever else they decided to use as their UI. I feel like the Java UI was like really something fun to use, and I actually quite miss it, because I can't use Java UI with with Turtle Client. It just like messes up way too much, so I just have to turn it off. It's not something major, but it's up there as like a really annoying thing to miss out on. There's also just a lot of like unique texture packs that do a better job at specific stuff that this client texture pack has. For example, Ambience animated K pack. It's just so good. If you want to use it instead of the animated capes here, I definitely recommend them. They're really well made. Ambient does such a good job on every single one of the packs that Ambient releases, and honestly, they're just so well made. Definitely miles ahead of what Turtle Client has so far. And there's a lot of, I guess, different UI clients that are just better than this. Now, the fact that it has everything in one spot is good, but I definitely think this isn't something great as of right now. I think it has a potential, but I think this is just way too overhyped. A lot of YouTubers just went on this I guess just trend of, oh yes, oh my gosh, texture pack client, this is another Astral, I can clickbait this, I can get so many views from this, and it's just annoying, because honestly, the real reason Astral died wasn't because it was falsely advertised as like a FPS improver. It was just all the content creators advertising it as something that it isn't. Astral developers never said that Astral was an FPS improver. Nobody ever. I mean, I said it after a while, but that was because of my own research, and I still stand to that research. But before I came out with my research, Hatra was already making videos or thumbnails that were like 1 million plus FPS boost, FPS improvement, Astral client, which just came out of nowhere, and it was mainly a trend carried over from previous clients. But it basically was just the community's fault for killing the client, and I really don't want this to happen to this client, because this client has potential, but I guess it's already kind of happening slowly. But I hope with new developers and different developers that it's gonna be a different story, and I'm really excited to see what they're gonna bring to the board. For now, it isn't something that's great. I'll still be using it though, solely just because of the outline selection, and I really need that outline outline selection. But besides that, I don't really need any of the mods. I'll be honest. I'm good. Like I just use Onyx, and that's fine for me. But if you're a mobile player and you kind of want some of these mods, then uh, go ahead by all means. But if you're a PC player, there's better stuff out there. Go ahead and get that. And then maybe someday when Turtle Client is worth a try and it's improved enough, then sure, go ahead and do that. Also, can I just ask this? This is like really random, but like, why is it like this like really ugly shift animation? Like, does this serve a purpose? Because whenever I'm like shifting, there's like this like really ugly, like really ugly animation, and like I just can't get rid of it. Like, it looks like I'm about to Naruto run or something, or I'm about to emote or something. It's super annoying. Can somebody like please remove this? Because whenever I'm like playing Bedwars, I think the guy's staring away from me, but he's actually staring at me. I just can't see it because his face is just it, and I can't see it just because his face is just straight. It's so annoying. Can somebody like please remove that? I would really appreciate it because it serves no purpose. I think like I've looked through the code. There's no thing that states okay, whenever your head is straight and you're shifting, that's where we're activate a super secret setting. So I really think this like shifting straight looking head thing is kind of annoying. It looks ugly too. It looks ugly too, and it messes me up a lot. So can we please remove that, please?